This call is being recorded.
Hold on, Janice. I need to get you unmuted. Just a second. Okay, Janice, you're on.
Thank you, Barbara. Well, folks, we are continuing our Eric Worre training of the book Go Pro, and I truly hope every one of you have taken the recommendation seriously to read the book as we are going through this training. For many of us, we have read this book a couple of times already, and yet, ironically, many of us are not really following all of the wonderful advice that is contained within the book based on years of experience and on thousands and thousands of interviews that Eric has done with many individuals to develop this resource for us. So today we are covering Chapter 8, which is helping your prospects become customers or distributors. It's skill number 5, and the reality of this skill is closing. How do we close and help our prospects become customers or distributors? So that's what we want to cover today, and I want to just bring us a little bit in sequence with last week's call. Michael Huey did an excellent job last week of stressing the importance of follow-up and how many touches or follow-ups are required to just bring somebody to a decision-making point. Too often when we look at the closing, we get very dogmatic and we think of it as a very specific moment in the relationship building cycle. Oh, we got to close them. We got to do this thing. And we freak out. We end up hurting ourselves because we fail to remember that closing is really a process. And maybe this is a new perception for some of you to think about closing as a process instead of as a specific moment in time. The reality is that we are building relationships throughout the cycle of talking with a prospect. And we make an effort at the end of each one of those touches to bring that touch, that event, that moment into closure to bring us to the next step, the next event, the next touch. Eventually, we will have what we consider closing the deal, signing them up as a preferred customer or as a distributor. But by the same token, we should not see that even as an end. It's really the beginning of the next chapter. And as we develop these customers into lifelong customers, as we develop our distributors into leaders and having a team of their own, we should continue to practice the skills that I'm going to be talking about this evening. Eric Worre begins the start of this chapter with a statement that the key to success in this area is a combination of having good posture and asking good questions. So what does that mean? Well, posture is not referring to how straight you stand, although as a mother, I certainly was a proponent of that with my sons for years and years. But our physical posture is important because how we stand, the look on our face, our voice, all of those things are part of the perception that we are projecting to our prospect. We want that to be one of confidence and enthusiasm. So we have to think, what are our words and what are our actions portraying to our prospect? So what is your focal point when you are in front of somebody? If accomplishing your objective of getting another notch in your belt is what you're thinking, then you're going to be like a hunter. We've heard this expression before, going after the game and trying to capture them or shoot them or put another accomplishment on your wall. But perhaps what we need to be thinking about is our prospect getting all of the information that they need to make the best decision for them, if we're focusing on our needs and wants, our prospect's going to sense it, and they're going to start to back off and feel intimidated and threatened. But if you think more about what does my customer need, what do they want, what is this prospect's pain, if we're trying to find that information out, then we are projecting a genuine concern about the person in front of us. That comes across. The fear, the intimidation, the defensive nature of a prospect immediately softens because they can sense that we're more concerned about them than we are about ourselves. So you have a choice. You can either be like a giant vacuum cleaner, and as soon as you open your mouth, it's like switching the vacuum cleaner on. You just want to suck that prospect in. Or you can perhaps view yourself as someone who wants to link arms with them and begin a journey with them. That's something that I really have felt as I prepared for this call that was very important to me, was communicating to all of you that if we could treat this whole process of building relationships, engaging individuals in knowledge about our product and our opportunity, and we do it as if we are a guide on a journey, we will be far more successful, and we're going to enjoy this a whole lot more. I want to give you an analogy real quickly. I went to Gettysburg College, and it was in the middle of the battlefield. So I spent a lot of time on the battlefield studying, riding my bike, just getting away. And I began to observe the variety of ways that people experience the battlefield. One of the most impactful ways that you can see the battlefields of Gettysburg is you hire a trained tour guide who gets in your car and you drive, and they guide you through the entire park while sharing with you the history in the stories. Imagine that this is what we want to do with a prospect. They're driving the car. We want them to go where they want to be, but we're the guide. We know what the resources are. We know where the high points are. We know the information that's out there to be had, and we want to guide them to it, but we want to excite them and entice them to be on this journey with us. We don't want to drag them kicking and screaming, because guess what? Either they will shut us down completely, or they will say, fine, fine, fine. I'll order the products. Will you just leave me alone? But we want to really develop the relationship. So that's critical in the close. That's critical in helping someone become a customer or becoming a distributor. They have to want to be on this journey with us. They have to be excited about this journey with us. And they have to feel like we are in this with them. It's not a win-lose situation. So let me get back to some of the simple skills that Eric Worre has presented to us in this chapter. And really, we want to look at this as resolving people's concerns in order to bring them to closure in making a decision. So back to Eric Worre, he says, number one, we need to be emotionally detached from the outcome. Remember, your goal is to be a guide, or Eric calls us consultants. Your prospect needs to own or desire the outcome. This can't be the outcome you want for them. It has to be the outcome they want for themselves. So again, we have to be emotionally detached from this outcome. Our process is as a consultant or a guide to help them get to the outcome that is going to be best for them, their family, their lives. The second thing Eric says is be very assumptive in your approach. Now, that's kind of a vague term. What does that mean? Well, it means that we have to have such a strong belief that we are assuming that when they can understand what we understand, they're going to want to be a partner with us in this, whether it's a business partner or as a customer. So we have to be able to project such passion and conviction and excitement about what we have that it entices them to pursue getting more information. It's our job to be, in Eric's words, rock solid in our belief. And Daniel was talking a little bit about this in his call for Brandon. We have to be rock solid in our belief. The third thing Eric says, and this sounds a little bit weird because of everything I'm saying about being a guide and helping them, but Eric says that you really have to be promoting yourself as much as you're promoting the product and the opportunity. Well, you're thinking, what does that mean? I'm selling myself? I'm trying to help them understand LifeVantage and what LifeVantage is all about. Well, remember that this is a partnership, that especially if we're talking about a distributor, we're building a team. We're doing this together. So they have to look at me, hear me, watch me, and believe that I'm going to be with them throughout this process. Even if it's a preferred customer, they have to believe that they can depend on me, depend on the information I'm sharing with them, that I will be there to answer questions for them. So I am promoting myself. I am making sure that they have confidence in me as their guide in this journey. Remember that excitement and enthusiasm is contagious. Passion is contagious. But if I'm lukewarm and I'm not projecting that rock-solid belief and I'm not projecting a commitment to them, they are going to be less likely to want to join arms with me in this journey. The fourth thing that Eric talked about, and this is so important, is we always have to be prepared. And this means not that you are a scientist and you've memorized everything about the products and the science behind the product. What it means is that you have at your fingertips the resources that you need to answer their questions. Again, you don't have to have all the answers, but you do want to have the resources to know how to help them go forward. And that means also how to get them started. If they make the decision they want to become a distributor or they want to sign up as a PC, then you're ready right then and there to get them started. So be prepared, because delay will cause a loss of momentum, causes a loss of excitement, and boy, I tell you, we can lose people so quickly because we were not prepared and had to say, oh, well, I'll get back to you, and then life interrupts. And I know it's happened to every one of us. So here's the last point of this skill set that Eric talks about, and that is ask question after question after question after question. But that's not enough. You have to listen to the answers. We are consultants, or as I said, we're guides on this journey to an informed decision. Questions are our most powerful tool. So many of us that are listening to this call say, okay, wait a minute. None of this is new, so why isn't it working for me? Well, my guess is that we have an expectation for ourselves that we have to be a master at this from the get-go. And because we're not, it really causes us to hesitate before we try. And when we do try and we don't sound like Eric Worre, or we don't sound like Brandon Cunningham or Barbara Borland or the Bernards or Michael Huey or anyone else that has been in this business for a number of years, then we go, well, I can't do this. And then we quit before we even get started. Friends, we have to keep practicing. Keep going in spite of failure. Keep going in spite of the bumps in the road. Just learn from them. And then go back through and use these same steps over and over and over again. Because if we can do it repeatedly, eventually we will get better. And Eric says that very thing in the book, that when he first started following these steps, he didn't do it well, but he kept doing it over and over and over again to ensure that he would learn how to do it and how to do it well. And obviously, Eric has succeeded. Obviously, all of our upline who've been doing this for years have succeeded. And we're all trying to learn how to do this better, do this consistently, because only with consistency comes excellence. So I have one more thing that I want to cover with regards to the questions, because the questions are absolutely our most powerful tool. And in the close of this chapter, Eric talks about the 4-question close. And we've had this taught in lead school as well, so this is not unfamiliar information. In lead school, we actually talk about the 6 questions, because the first 2 are the ones that we use to continue the conversation. And of course, those first questions are very basic, and they are, oh, now that you've watched this video, does this make sense to you? Or what did you like best about what you saw? Or what excited you the most about what you saw? Can you see how this could be an opportunity for you? Open-ended questions are the best when we're trying to find out what's going on in the prospect's mind. So that, like the second and the middle 2 questions, what did you like best or what excited you most, are not yes or no questions. They have to give you some information. So you want to use the information they're giving you, validate it, elaborate on it, and draw from those questions to ask your next questions, so that you can really get a good sense of where they are, how they've responded to the information. And then once you've established a sense of where they are, you alone will know if it's an appropriate time to ask the classic on a scale of 1 to 10 question. But you can always use that 1 to 10 question just to get a sense of where your prospect is. So, for example, based on what you've learned so far, on a scale of 1 to 10, would you find yourself at a 1, which is don't bother calling me again, appreciate your time, but no thanks, or a 10, man, I want to link arms with you. This is the most amazing opportunity I've ever heard. So just based on the information you have right now, where would you put yourself? So let's say that they give you a 5. Well, then your next question, and Brandon Cunningham suggested this, and I loved it, is, wow, that's awesome. Why weren't you a 3? And now you're going to find them convincing you of all the positive things that they find about the opportunity or the products. And this is, again, going to give you a good opportunity to assess where they are. So then the 4-question close, how much income part-time would it take to make it worth your time? How many hours a week could you commit to? How many months would you be willing to commit to? And then John or Joe or whomever, if I could show you a way to make whatever amount of money they said, working whatever hours they said per week for whatever months they said, would you be willing to get started today? Now remember, this was a if I could show you question. So if they're ready to sign up, well, you'll know that. But remember, your question to them was, if I could show you how to do this, would you be willing to get started today? So don't get freaked out if they go, well, yeah, I'd like to know all that, but I'm not ready to get started today. Because your question was, if I could show you a way. So we still have to show them the way. So always be ready to use question, question, question. Don't be afraid to ask closing questions that can bring you forward. Barbara, if you would unmute Glenn, we're just going to do a quick role play between Glenn and I of these questions in the close.
He's unmuted.
Thank you. Glenn, are you on, babe?
I am, dear.
All right. So Glenn and I had just come off of lead school, And we were practicing some of this yesterday with Kathy Bernard teaching our lead school, so it's fresh in our minds. So we're just going to do a real quick role play with you all using this classic approach that's the Eric Worre approach. So Glenn will have just watched our new awesome video and have done a third party. So he's spoken with one of my wonderful uplines or one of my fellow business partners, and now that person has departed the phone call, and I am now carrying on my conversation with my prospect. Well, Glenn, after everything that you have learned from talking with Barbara and watching the video about our company and our products, tell me, what did you like best about what you saw?
Well, the product certainly intrigues me. I can see that one could benefit from taking some of the products.
Excellent. I know exactly what you're saying. When I was first exposed to this, I felt the very same way. The product truly excited me. What did you think about the science, Glenn?
Well, if what they say is accurate of the studies, I think there's some valid science there. So that intrigues me.
Excellent. And I would love to share more of that science with you. And perhaps after we're finished the call, I can follow up and send you some more emails so you can explore that science. Tell me, did you have any curiosity about the business opportunity that Barbara mentioned to you?
Mildly, maybe so.
Okay. Do you remember seeing that earnings statement that Barbara alluded to and we took a quick look at, and you saw some different levels of income?
Yeah.
Do you remember seeing that? Okay.
Yeah.
So thinking about the possibility of making some extra income part-time basis, what kind of money would you want to make on a monthly basis to just help you guys out in your family and your situation, recognizing that you're working full-time and you don't have a lot of time, but what kind of income part-time would make it worth your time to just try something?
Oh, $2,000, $2,500 a month, somewhere around there.
Wow. Okay, that really does make a difference. That's good, significant income. So, how many hours a week, Glenn, do you think you could commit to try to generate that much money?
Probably 10.
10. That's excellent. That's excellent. I can see that you'd be serious about trying to have an additional stream of independent income that you could control working 10 hours a week. How many months, Glenn, do you think you could commit to that?
Well, I don't know. How many months would it take, do you think?
Well, I would say that depends very much on how you want to work the business, and if you really are serious about generating that kind of income on a regular basis. Looking at that amount of money per month is at what we would call a Pro 5 status. And a Pro 5 status really takes, I would want you to be very serious about it for at least a year. And if you were serious about a strong building an independent business that you could have significant time and financial freedom, you could make a much longer commitment and see amazing results. But I would say if you gave it a year and you were giving it 10 hours a week, that you could easily achieve that goal for yourself.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I'd give a year.
Okay. So Glenn, if I could show you how working LifeVantage and utilizing these products and the science that we have and this breakthrough opportunity, if I could show you how you could achieve that income level of $2,000 to $2,500 a month, working 10 hours a week and doing that for a year. Would you be willing to get started partnering with me today?
Possibly, yes.
Great. Great. I love your open-mindedness. I would love to have an opportunity, Glenn, to sit down with you and really show you how the business works and how you could achieve that financial goal that you've set for yourself, and what the difference that could be for you long-term in the future, and what the rest of the potential is. Can we set that up? Let's see. This is Sunday night. Would tomorrow evening about the same time work for you?
Not tomorrow, no.
Okay. Would a morning work better than an evening?
It would be an evening.
An evening? Okay, great.
Yeah.
So would Tuesday or Thursday work for you?
Yeah, probably Thursday. Give me some time to look at some stuff.
Okay. That would be a great idea. I will send you some information. And how about we go ahead and meet at the Chick-fil-A there on Cobb Parkway so that I could sit down with you and actually show you some documents and some information and be able to answer your questions. Could we do that, say, about 7:30?
Sure, that'll be fine.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Glenn, I will be sure as soon as we get off the phone, I will forward you some information that you can take a look at. One of the things I want to send you is a webinar, pre-recorded webinar, give you another perspective on the business that you can take a look at, and I'll send you some science to look at, and then I will meet you on Thursday at 7:30 at the Chick-fil-A in Cobb Parkway. Is that okay?
Sure.
Excellent. Well, I'll text you on Thursday morning just to make sure nothing's come up, and I'll plan on seeing you that evening at 7:30.
Okay.
Thank you for your time, Glenn. Have a great night.
All right, thank you.
All right. God bless. So, guys, that's just an example of how to use the questions. Thank you so much for your time this evening on a Sunday evening, and I hope and pray that you all will have an awesome, productive, successful week, and go out and go pro. Love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye. Barbara, I don't know if there's people who had questions, I forgot to ask you to see if you wanted to unmute because I know I've run into 9 o'clock.